you should already know what this is. And for those of you that aren't, just chill. See, we're going to get down to the other stuff here in a second. But what I'm always trying to get everybody to understand is everything is vibration. So, before we do anything else, just a second. Just vibe. Everything is vibration. Just let it seep in. Yeah. Let's run that back. Just vibe, baby. Venus is now Kazemi. Just let it seep in. Just a second. Yes. Just vibe. Beats by PlAcEmEnTs music. Let's zone now, fam. We're gonna take just a few minutes and let a few people trickle in, and then we're gonna get down to the nitty gritty. Now today, we're gonna touch on the transits and elaborate on the aspects that might be affecting you. But then after that, I'm gonna get into the priceless top 5 funniest placements in astrology. Yeah. Cheers to you. Just vibe. I feel good today, man. I look better. Just let it seep in. That's a vibe right there. Yes, Aries is in my 7th house. Half of it anyway. Why do you ask? And let me tell you, if you have not smiled yet today, now would be the perfect time to do so. And if you can't find a smile for yourself, please allow me to be the smile on your face. Because at the end of the day, all I am is the smile on your face. All I am is the motherfucking vibe. This is that moon and Taurus vibe right here. A little something lovely. Mr. Intense. What's up with it, fam? Man, I love that vibe. Make sure y'all hit the like button as you come in the door. And in doing so, understand, this is not about ego. No, that's self-sustaining. This is about algorithm. This just helps us explain the platform. That way, if you're not trying to hear what I'm trying to say, at least we can get out to the next motherfucker who is. Yeah. This is priceless knowledge of self. I don't have any thoughts on that, brother. Means you're a creative person. I don't know how it will be channeled, but you definitely have a lot of creativity. You have divine creativity. I would also say that if you do have children, the first one would probably be a girl. I have Pisces in the 5th house. My moon is in Pisces in the 5th house. So it's in me, not on me. Yeah. Probably means you like getting high. Also. You enjoy your time alone. Also. That's what having Pisces on the 5th house cusp means. What's up, John Leah? I don't know nothing about no OG Master Splinter. That sounds like a rat. Now, just come with me. On a trip to the galaxy, flying high, away from misery. Yeah. Come with me on a trip to the galaxy, but your feet won't leave the ground. tell you. Like I said, we're going to take just a few minutes to let a few more people trickle in. And then we're going to touch on the transits. And I'm going to elaborate on the aspects that might be affecting you. But then after that, I'm going to get into the PrIcElEs top 5 funniest placements in astrology. Yeah. So just cool your jets. It's the Kush. Away from misery. Yeah. You done fucked up and swiped into some trio shit this time. And let me tell you, this is the Vibe Tribe. We're here to raise the vibration with this knowledge and information. It ain't gonna be for everybody. We're not thirsty for subscribers or hungry for attention. There are already thousands of us all over the world. You hear me? We have a vibe to maintain. This is priceless knowledge of self. We're gonna get into astrology and numerology and all types of stuff that help you understand yourself better. So if you come in on some fuck shit or some troll shit, you just fucking your own self up. You just disrespecting yourself. And when you do that, you're gonna be identified and then banned, or I'm talking exiled expeditiously, because it ain't for you. It's no hate involved, it's only love. You hear me? Away from misery. Yeah. Vibe. Everything is vibration. Please understand that.
So, this shit crazy.
That's a vibe right there. Just let it seep in. See, the knowledge comes naturally. We tapped in. The vibe is the most important part around here. And I'll be damned if I let you fuck that up. This is something sustainable. Unrestrainable. For some of y'all haters, it's gonna be unattainable. It's also unfeignable. Yeah. Just vibe. You hear that oboe? That's not a flute, that's an oboe. Yeah. Yeah, this is priceless knowledge of self. Make sure y'all hit that like button. And if this ain't for you, swipe up, bitch. Yeah, it's that simple. Before you embarrass yourself, swipe up. What's up, Max Green? Oh. Just fine. It's gonna be a beautiful day, regardless of what haters say. I'm fucking with that. Are y'all ready to talk about what's going on cosmically? Because I do believe it is that time for you to open up your ear and let me crawl into your mind. So, let's talk about the sun. Because the sun now sits at 14 degrees of Gemini. And hey, I'm gonna tell you what this energy isn't, first of all. It isn't boring. You hear me? See, with the sun in Gemini, it's communicative. It's versatile. It's interesting. It's fun. It's clever. Yeah. Learning is key. And with it being Gemini, the subject list is unlimited. Yeah. There's a natural curiosity that kicks in. You hear me? This is the sun in Gemini. It's stimulation. Can you feel that? Yeah. It's electric and effervescent. Yeah. But yeah. I think when you consider the fact that Venus is conjunct to the sun, and I'm talking about Cazimi. And for those of y'all that don't know, once again, let me explain that Cazimi means in the heart of the sun. What's up with it, Impulsive YT? But what that really means is that the astrological body mentioned is within 1 degree in conjunction with the sun. And in this case, we're talking about Venus. So Venus and the sun are moving together. And they have been for a while, but right now they're in their closest proximity. I'm talking about they're exactly in the same spot. And so the beautiful thing with Venus conjunct to the sun is there's a light shining on communication. There's a light shining on flirtation. There's a light shining on all manner of relationships and also material well-being. Sometimes it just takes the right conversation, because with the sun in Gemini, with Mercury in Gemini, with Venus in Gemini, with Jupiter in Gemini. Conversation rules the nation. Yeah. See, that's what it is right now. And with the sun conjunct to Venus, I'm gonna be honest with you. This is Gemini, so this is where boredom is your worst enemy right now. You got to keep it stimulating. You got to keep it stimulating, you hear me? And I know how to do so. Yeah. Now, take advantage of this energy, pardon me, by just enjoying the people that you interact with today, learning as much as you can about them and about what they enjoy, and then try to find something that y'all enjoy together. And if you want to know, just ask. Just ask. It's a beautiful energy, man. I mean, more than anything else, it's fun and it's stimulating. And what you need to do is try to get the most of it. Now, tomorrow, or really later on this evening, we're going to transition into the moon also in Gemini. So we'll have an amazing stellium going on. And what a stellium represents is when 3 or more true astrological bodies, and what I mean by true astrological bodies is it has to be something that is considered material in a way, or something that is made that is real. See, the north nodes are calculations. The black moon Lilith is the dark apogee of the moon. It's a calculation. The part of fortune is a calculation. Now, some people don't include outer bodies, but I do. Or outer planets, but I do. Now, asteroids, they are not part of stelliums. Okay? So ultimately, you have the sun through Pluto. Now, some astrologers are more specific, and they want it to be the sun through Jupiter. You feel me? And so that just puts it into context for you. And we're going to have the sun, the moon, Mercury, Venus, and Jupiter all in Gemini. So, things are going to get interesting. I'm not going to say they could get interesting. They are going to get interesting. And you might find your energy is scattered. You might see that you have 50 things going on all at once. And some people are going to prefer to have it that way. Other people are going to feel stretched thin. You just got to make the most of it yourself personally. You did. Yeah. This is where, with the sun Kazemi with Venus in Gemini, intellect is sexy. Yeah. Intelligence is sexy. This is the season of the intellectual, of the artist. Yeah. So how you love that? Now, let's talk about the moon. Because right now, as we speak, the moon sits at 22 degrees of Taurus. Now, this is as cool, calm, and collective as it gets. The moon is exalted in Taurus. So what does that mean? That means this is probably the best expression of the moon's energy. It's not the most natural like Cancer would be. But with Taurus, this is where you're just calm and you're enjoying the feeling. You're not just feeling it, you're also enjoying it. And it's a safe space. Some would say with the sun, or not the sun, pardon me, with the moon about to move into Gemini, this is that calm before the storm. Because tomorrow things speed up. But right now it's cool. This is where you just soak it all in. Just soak it all in. Alright? Now, what's interesting is as calm as this can be, the moon is still conjunct to Uranus. And with the moon conjunct to Uranus, it's hard to feel comfortable. You're cool with it, but it's hard to feel comfortable. There might be a certain restlessness that's kind of setting in. So with this, mixing with this Gemini energy also, you can see some erratic behavior or some mood swings come into play. It's like you're cool 1 second, then the next second is like, I gotta do something else. Or all of a sudden you feel something differently. But what you gotta do is cool out and let it resonate and then express it in the best way possible. But there is the potential to experience what some people would call an emotional awakening. You hear me? Or there could be a sudden turn of events all of a sudden where things just change completely for you today for some reason or in some area of your life. Now I have all of this going on in my 8th house. Well, the sun is on the cusp of my 9th house. The sun and Venus are going to move into my 9th house conjunct my Chiron tomorrow. So it's going to be an incredibly healing day for me tomorrow, whatever happens. Probably stimulated through certain conversations. Or because my mind is allowing myself to go into that space because it's Gemini. But you have to see where this plays out for you, because right now, like I said, I have the sun, the moon, Mercury, Venus, and Jupiter, and Uranus all in my 8th house. And so I'm just trying to survive it. I'm just trying to survive it, baby. And I will. I might just come out metamorphosized. I might show y'all a whole different part of myself. The lower part. No, I'm just playing. But for real though, this is an interesting energy. And you can only deal with it as it comes. You hear me? This is not wine. No. This is watermelon juice. I don't drink alcohol. That's watermelon juice. That's why it's pink. Okay. Now, let's talk about Mercury. Because since we've last spoken, Mercury has went from Taurus. Now Mercury is at home here in Gemini. And what I mean by at home, for those of y'all that are not familiar, is Mercury rules Gemini. So this is a natural expression of Mercury's energy. And when you see Mercury in Gemini, everybody's powers of intellect are improved and the mind tends to be more curious than ever. And there's this enhanced need for mental stimulation. And this is the most excellent time for you to learn about something new. It's an exciting time. People want to talk to other people. People want to learn as much as they can about everything. And there could also be, with Mercury and Gemini, some gossiping and some messiness. There's going to be all types of messiness going on. And people are just going to be talking just to talk. Talking out of their ass or talking out of the side of their neck. There's going to be some lies. There's going to be some stealing. But all that's fun, ain't it? All that's fun. But with all of this Gemini energy, I just really feel like it's natural for us to try to juggle various mental activities, and it's like people want to multitask right now. They don't want to be just doing just one thing, no. They want to have their hands in as many different things as possible. Because right now, that's what feels like is going to ensure the best results. Now, with Mercury conjunct to Jupiter, because they're exactly conjunct right now. They're both sitting at 2 degrees of Gemini. With Mercury conjunct to Jupiter, I feel like everybody's mind is more optimistic. There's this anything is possible outlook that sets in. And people are just thinking more versatile today. Because it's like, you know what? That's true. But I could also see it this way. And I'm going to be honest with you. People's sense of humors are going to be more profound than ever right now. With Mercury conjunct to Jupiter and it being in Gemini, people's sense of humors are going to be very profound. People want to laugh. People going to be talking that shit. Especially when it comes to mocking other people and making fun of things. Making light of the situation. And there's a certain escapability that comes into play with Mercury and Gemini conjunct to Jupiter. It's like people see all types of options on how to get out of things. Whether it be a harrowing situation or a conversation or work or whatever it is. There is this really interesting dynamic where escapability becomes a part of the energy. And I feel like with this Gemini energy, communication is key. But it's more about speaking than writing, because writing takes too much time. But there is plenty of that type of prowess available for us. You know, there could be a time where people do want to enhance their penmanship or write something new. And so all of that's beautiful energetically. It really is. Now, Venus is also in Gemini. And like I said, Venus is exactly conjunct the Sun. That's where that Kazemi comes in. And once again, that just puts a greater need for variety and mental stimulation, especially when it comes to romantic encounters. People want to do different stuff. They might even want to talk to different people. And that can be a problem right now. With all of this Gemini energy, there's also a certain mischievousness that comes into play. Yeah. And this is the best time to connect with somebody on an intellectual level. Yeah. You can fall in love with somebody's mindset with Venus in Gemini, especially with it conjunct to the Sun. What's up, Texas? Another thing, you could also see where with Venus in Gemini, people are more flirtatious. And not only that, people could be getting involved with other people or acting like they're interested in other people just for the information it brings. But there's also this tendency for people to be more fickle. And when I say fickle, that means unreliable within relationships or interpersonal dynamics. And that could play out in the business too. People just be saying shit. People be just all over the place and what they want or what they're trying to do. And so that adds another interesting dynamic in its own right. And I'm telling you now, if you are in a relationship, you need to speak to your partners. You need to talk to them. You need to connect with them on an intellectual level. This is the perfect time for y'all to have those important conversations, or just to talk to each other and enjoy each other's mindsets and really try to understand where the other person is coming from. And so I was reading earlier, and I said this before, that with Venus in Gemini, the brain becomes the largest erogenous zone that we have. Yeah, I like that too. But don't be boring. And don't let the people you're involved with get bored. Because with that, you might get your feelings hurt. There ain't no sympathy. There definitely ain't no loyalty. Not with Gemini. It's fun, it's interesting, it's mischievous, it's sexy, it's all of that shit. But it can definitely be significantly fickle. Yeah. Welcome to the Gemini Stellium. Now, the next thing we're going to speak on is Mars. Because Mars is sitting at 26 degrees of Aries. So, this is our last week of Mars in Aries, and then things will slow down. But, while Mars is in Aries, life has sped up significantly. People's reactions are quicker than ever. And to be honest, all this Gemini energy will add to that dynamic. So you do have to be careful what you say when you're just talking out of the side of your neck, because you might not get a reaction that you expected. It could be an adverse reaction. Somebody might slap the cowboy shit out of you, because Gemini does rule the hands. And Mars in Aries is about that action. Yeah. Shit could get active. People are more impulsive and impatient than ever. Yeah. You better play your cards right. But whatever happens probably needed to happen, because Mars is conjunct to Chiron still. So whatever's going on, whatever happens from this energy, and stuff is gonna happen, because Aries is an active energy. It's probably the most active or action-oriented energy that there is in astrology. When you do see that, I do have to be honest with you and let you know that, hey, maybe this is what needed to happen. Now you know where you stand. Now there's a certain awareness that comes of it. Even if it's not an awareness of somebody else's dynamic in the situation, you see an awareness of why the fuck you do the things you do, or you see that's where who you really are, or that's what needed to happen. It's like, all right, I fucked up. But now that's something I know I need to work on. There's also a thing where, like, okay, that's how you doing me? That's how you do the game? Now I know who I'm dealing with. Now I know what it is between us. So, if somebody shows you who the fuck they are, believe them. Believe them. Right now, with Mars and Aries conjunct to Chiron, there's some shit right now that you're being made aware of, that as painful as it might be, or aggravating as it may be, you just needed to know that shit. Or even as adverse is the reaction that comes from the situation, it still gives you the opportunity to hold yourself accountable. You hear me? You got to hold yourself accountable. This awareness allows for accountability. That accountability allows for action. Sometimes it takes an action to get a reaction or to get that awareness that you need. And that's where it is right here. Is, hey, people are going to say some shit. People are going to do some shit. You're going to say some shit. You're going to do some shit. And some of it might even be a mistake, but you learn from that. It gives you the opportunity to learn from that. There's going to be some situations that seem forced. There might be some conflicts that come out of nowhere. But those confrontations allow you to confront the situation. And that's the first progressive push forward. Yeah. That's what it is. Stop playing with me. It'll be all right. I think that's all we got to say about Mars. But that next brings us to Jupiter. And Jupiter is sitting at 2 degrees of Gemini. Now, Jupiter is where we see philosophy. It's where we see luck. We see blessings. It's expansive energy. But see, here's the thing. Gemini is already all over the place. Gemini is already all over the place. And so, what you see with that is with Jupiter in Gemini and Jupiter being detriment in Gemini. And what I mean by detriment is Jupiter's at home in Sagittarius. Sagittarius and Gemini are opposite to each other. So Jupiter is in its opposite sign. And what happens is in Gemini, Jupiter gets spread too thin. People kind of get all over the place. And they want to move on to the next thing very quickly. They want to be able to skim the surface, move on to the next thing very quickly. But the problem with that is there's things that get left undone. Pardon me, not just led, but left undone. And then when things get left undone, that lends to confusion. And then on top of that, as I said before, when you get too many irons in the fire, you can ultimately run out of fire. You did. Now, it's going to be a great time to learn new stuff. All mental processes are going to be enlightening right now. Like people are want to talk, and there is a very fun energy that kicks in. There's also a certain mischievousness that kicks in. Hold on, let me help you out. Just for fun. Look, Nico. All you gotta do is swipe up, bitch. If this ain't for you, swipe up, motherfucker. This is a vibe tribe. We're here to raise the vibration with this knowledge and information, and it ain't gonna be for everybody. This is about astrology and numerology or anything else that helps you understand yourself better or understand how the energy is working as a whole. If you can't fuck with it, swipe up. We don't need you. We're not thirsty for subscribers or hungry for attention because there are thousands of us all over the world. Thousands of us. There's going to be thousands of people who see this stream today. If it ain't for you, it ain't for you. Excuse yourself or you're going to be exiled expeditiously. We're here to keep the vibration on a certain level. If you ain't with it, it ain't for you. You hear me? Now, when you come in here on some fuck shit or some hating shit, you really just expose yourself because we're here to help each other. We're on some real positive shit. So when you come in on some, this ain't me, look at your cow, the fuck the Dallas Cowboys, and oh, look at Bootleg Drake, and is that Joyner Lucas, and all this stupid shit y'all be on. It just lets us know that this ain't for you. And then we ban you. We don't take it personally. You're not hurting anybody's feelings. What you should do is go start a channel where you see everybody come in the comments and you roast them, and then we'll come subscribe to you. You did. Like, it's like that. You're not going to affect us one bit. We will block or ban or exile probably 200 or 300 people every live session, maybe more than that. And then it's not your problem anymore. And you're not our problem anymore. So just cool your jets, baby. Enjoy the process. You'll learn a lot more. Yeah. Maybe you come on and there's something that makes you feel some type of way. I know I'm handsome. I know I'm knowledgeable. Yes, I love the Dallas Cowboys. Yes, my teeth are fucked up. Yes, I'm bald. Yes, I'm smoking. Like, we don't give a fuck. Like, there's not much you can say that can bring anything negative into this mix. You feel me? You just look like a fool. So if it ain't for you, swipe up, bitch. You hear me? Yeah. Damn, that motherfucker's clogged. Y'all hear that? You done clogged my motherfucking vape. Now I gotta step out of the frame so I can suck start this motherfucker without looking diddy. All right, we back. But yeah, man. You need to get some positivity into you. Let me pump some into you. No diddy. But back to the energy. Jupiter is trying to Pluto. Now, Pluto's retrograde at 1 degree of Aquarius, but Jupiter is trying to Pluto. So once again, these are conversations that are coming about that are really going to help all of us. Like, there's conversations that are starting right now that are going to be the beginning of changes. And it's beautiful. There's stuff that we need to talk about, as uncomfortable as it may be. But through that, changes can be made. You hear me? And it starts up here. A change in the mindset could change the whole fucking world. When people change their mindset, their lifestyle also begins to change from there. And it doesn't just have to be a conversation. It can start with the willingness to have an open mind. That's what happens with Pluto in Aquarius, especially while they were in this retrograde phase. But with Jupiter trying to Pluto, this is where stimulating conversations kick in that could change everything for everybody. Oh, I like that beat. Yeah. Yeah. That kind of sounds like some Eminem shit, right? The old school Eminem type shit. That's the vibe right there. Just vibe. Now, the next thing we have to speak on is Saturn. And there's times where I go into a whole 30-minute soliloquy about what Saturn in Pisces is doing. But look, Saturn in Pisces, it wants us to tune into ourselves. Doing so will help us be able to understand and deal with life better. There's a lot of things going on externally, and it's affecting us. I mean, it's affecting us. The world is a crazy place right now, and it's affecting people in different ways, but it's ultimately affecting you. Now, you have to figure out how to process that. Now, there's some people who are going through Saturn returns and who have Saturn conjunct to their moon like me, or was conjunct to my moon. It's not conjunct to my moon anymore. It's now conjunct to Jupiter for me. But now it's just more or less like, okay, you have to deal with things. And that's how things get better. Not by ignoring them, not by escapist tendencies, not by avoidance behaviors, not about addictions, not by playing victim, not by delusion. All of that just makes things worse. It just makes things worse. So you have to find a way to process things healthily. And it's easier said than done. Because with Saturn in Pisces, subconscious fears and anxieties are going to be forthcoming. And this is the time where you just need to deal with them. Figure out why they're there. Because some shit ain't even worth entertaining. And as I've told y'all over and over for the last year, the main thing to remember is you are not a victim. With Saturn in Pisces, life is not just happening to you. You're not a victim of circumstance. And your karma hasn't come to get you unless it has. Because karma is not consequence. Consequences are just a part of karma. If there's some stuff you've been avoiding or ignoring and it's a thing that keeps coming back on you, you got to stop avoiding it. You got to stop ignoring it. If you have an emotional situation or feeling towards somebody that really bothers you and it keeps coming up or you keep encountering this individual, maybe you need to figure out why it bothers you so much and deal with that. Like, life is crazy, but it's always been crazy. Life is just doing what life does. We've had persecution, we've had disease, we've had death, we've had war, we've had heartbreak. We've had all of this happen in the process of the world turning since the beginning of time. You just got to deal with it and understand it's just a process. You need to process things in your process. That's what you got to do. It's really complex, but it's not complicated. That's the thing with Saturn. And Saturn's going to go retrograde soon. Saturn is stationing here within the next week or two. And then it's going to go retrograde here within 3 weeks. Matter of fact, I think right around the solstice, which is the 21st, Saturn is going to station retrograde. Maybe even before that. I haven't looked at the date exactly, and I know I should because this is what we do professionally here. But, well, let me look, shit, while we're doing it. Let me make sure I have the exact correct date for y'all. No, on the 29th. So we have a way, it's a little bit after that. So about 3 days after my birthday. So on the 29th. All the way till November 15th. Saturn is going to station retrograde. And then you'll get to see what's bothering you and why it's bothering you and all that shit. But right now, it's just processing it and dealing with it and realizing there's some things that you can't ignore. There's some things you can't escape. Plain and simple. There are some situations that are unavoidable. There's some emotions that if you allow them to fester, they're gonna make things worse. So it's just best that you deal with it. There's some shit that you're letting bother you and you shouldn't let bother you. Some of that shit is coming from your subconscious. Some of that shit is delusion. Some of that shit is confusion. Some of that shit is not even your responsibility, and you have to sort that out. Find a way to put some space between you and your thoughts. Get back into meditation. Meditation is not a practice where you're trying to go to a different plane of existence and tap into the Akashic records. That's where people get that fucked up. That's astral projection. Meditation is putting a little space between you and your thoughts. It's doing exercises mentally without being in direct control of it. It's the separation of your soul from your mind. Do you feel me? So whether it's through breathing techniques, not breathing techniques, that's my favorite. But not breathing techniques, but through breathing techniques or however you choose to meditate. Some people do it in different ways. What you're doing is giving yourself a little space where you can observe your thoughts, observe the way you feel, and realize that you're not a victim of it. It's just all of a part of a process. You're never going to be able to stop your mind from thinking. That's the truth. That's what its job is. And so as long as you're conscious, your mind is going to be thinking and processing things. I realized that in my meditations. I used to think I'm supposed to stop my mind from thinking and be completely still. I'm trying to meditate to turn my mind off. No, you're not going to be able to do that. What you do is you separating yourself from those thoughts. You're putting a little space between them. I do it through breathing techniques. And so when I'm breathing, when I do my breathing techniques and I'm doing an inhale of 5 to 8 seconds and an exhale of 7 to 12 seconds, I'm focusing on counting and I'm focusing on breathing. And there's going to be thoughts that come and go, but you just disconnect from that. If you feel it distracting you, you just get back to you get back into your breathing, you're counting. You just focus on the breathing and counting. And in doing so, you start to see that those thoughts are still coming, but you don't have to entertain them. And so you separate yourself from that, which gives you a break. Most people, including myself, when they first start meditating, they think that they're trying to leave this plane of existence. They're trying to snap into another, and I actually have. But I realized I astral projected. I wasn't meditating. I was in a meditative state, and from that meditative state, I astral projected into another space. But the meditation is what facilitated it. It's not what happened. It was like boom, boom, boom. Oh shit, I'm somewhere else. Well, here's the thing, Watkins Cat House. You're trying to do something. And that's not what meditation is. That's what when you say I have a hard time. Put some music on. I do it with music. I learned to do it without music, but I start out, there's a whole fucking process. I'll turn on some jazz, something without words. But I turn on jazz or classical music, and I let that play while I breathe initially. And then once I've calmed myself down enough, just listening to the music, or once I've gotten identified with that, I'll shut it off. Or sometimes I'll leave it on. It just depends. But because sometimes that helps and sometimes it's distracting. But stop trying to meditate and just breathe. That's the problem. When people are meditating, they're trying to do something. That's what I just said. You're trying to leave this plane. You're trying to tap into something. You're trying to talk to your spirit guides. You're trying to turn your brain off. Don't try. Just breathe. Inhale as slow as you can through your nose for 5 seconds to 8 seconds. Then exhale as slow as you can and as evenly as you can for 7 to 12 seconds. And as thoughts come, just let them come and just keep focused on. If you get distracted for a second, just, oh shit, I got just inside of your brain, just get back into counting, get back into breathing and focus. And slowly but surely you'll get to that to be a process. And slowly but surely that'll help you separate yourself from your thoughts. And so that becomes incredibly helpful in calming you. But ultimately, you got to do something. You have to figure out a way that you can deal with your shit. Because you dealing with your shit makes the world a better place. Yeah. The world. A lot of your problems are not revolving around the problem themselves. They're revolving around your perception of the problem. That's the thing. A lot of your problems are not revolving around the problem themselves because this life is just doing what life does. It's your perception of it. You feel me? And let me answer your question, Riley Collins. I am a straight man, but we love gay people here. We're not worried about your sexuality. We're worried about your spirituality. We don't give a damn who you sleep with. We'll talk about it, play about it, speak on it, whatever you need to do, but we don't give a damn about that. So you coming in asking if I'm gay or even calling me gay would never be an insult to me. Never. That's not my personal preference, but I love everyone who happens to choose that lifestyle. You feel me? We don't give a fuck. That's your business. We're not concerned with your sexuality. We're concerned with your spirituality. Hell, we can look at your placements and tell you why you a chump. You hear me? Find you somebody to play with. One thing you won't ever be able to do is compete with me verbally. My intellect is too advanced. That's the truth. Rahul Sweeney, you said, what's happening? Real shit. Matter of fact, trill shit, cuz. That's what's happening here. This is the Vibe Tribe. We're raising the vibration with this knowledge and information. This is astrology and numerology. This is priceless knowledge of self. And what we're doing right now is touching on the transits. And what I mean the transits, I'm telling you where everything is placed in the sky right now or astrologically. And then I'm telling you the aspects of how it could be affecting you. And then when we get done with that, I'm going to get into the priceless top 5 funniest placements in astrology. So what you done tuned into is a vibe. And if it ain't for you, swipe up. Maybe you'll tap into something that's full of haters and y'all can all have a good time. But other than that, this is some trill shit. Yeah. This is me and a whole bunch of kings and goddesses. making the world a better place through understanding ourselves. Just a second, I gotta text my wife. Now, just smile. Let's talk about Uranus. Because Uranus is sitting at 24 degrees of Taurus. And so this energy right here is unstable. Taurus is stability, but Uranus, it prevents that from happening. It's also finance. And so I would also say Taurus represents self-worth and self-esteem. And so, and values. And so with Uranus and Taurus, people's values have changed completely over the last 5 years. The nature of what is valuable has changed drastically. We've also entered into a very unstable market. It's really hard for people to get comfortable in any set way of being or any certain method of operation because everything changes so quickly. Something that's cool today might be banned tomorrow, or it might be canceled tomorrow. People's values change drastically. You can see that people are willing to do things to make money that they've never been willing to do before. Things that would have been condemned before are now publicly acceptable. And then it's also something that in itself is not a set value system. You can look at people's opinions, right? Let's look at Sean Combs, Diddy, and Donald Trump. Not the same charge, but people joke and have condemned Diddy for his sexual deviancy. They have condemned Drake for his supposed deviancy. But they're willing to overlook it with Donald Trump. People talk about the hush money. The reason why Donald Trump is in trouble for hush money is because he did something inappropriate sexually with several people. And he paid them to not make it public. See, that's a trip. You also see that the nature of what's valuable changes drastically right now. The nature of what's valuable changes drastically right now. All of the time. You also see where people have all types of side hustles. That's the one thing that goes over people's head. This is the time of side hustles. Like, people who are already millionaires have side hustles. Actors, actresses, they either have an OnlyFans or they have a podcast. Athletes that make hundreds of $millions, they have podcasts. They're into fashion. You have the common man like you and I who might have a 9-to-5, but they also might have a YouTube channel, or they might have turned their profile professional on social media. You see moms who have their job, they also dance, or they photograph their kids dancing. You see people who walk around with a camera following them, showing that ass that they done got enhanced. You see all types of stuff. Like there's so many unique ways for you to make money. You just can't get caught up in a certain method of operation or a certain mode of being. You have to stay adaptable in that. And if you are able to stay adaptable, you can stay on top of your bread. You see where people are making money off metaphysical topics and subjects. It's crazy that there's always been astrologers, but it was never a common profession like it is now. And part of that is also because of what Neptune has going on. See, Neptune is at 29 degrees of Pisces, and this is where we see spirituality has become a fad. Tina Claire Marie, yeah, I told you that Tyson fight wasn't going to happen. It wasn't real and it's not going to happen. Yep. But anyway, with Neptune at 29 degrees of Pisces, spirituality is a fad. And people forget about what it's really about. It's not about the inner journey anymore. It's about the outer title, the label. It's not about what's real or what's right. It's about what's popular and what's trending. That's the culture that we've created. And real ain't even real no more. I say that over and over again because it's so true. Real ain't even real no more. Plain and simple. Reality itself, we have come to understand as a people that that is subjective, but also projective. Hologrammic, holographic, convoluted, all of it. And we also see that this is a very creative time. I mean, it's very creative. It's very imaginative, but not for the right things. It's more confusing. Like we could be using this connection that we have to create something more cohesive and more compassionate. But instead, we're more discriminatory than we ever have been as people. And everything is projective. Doesn't matter what it really is. It matters what people expect from the projection. Once again, you want to look at the political situation. People pick and choose. And I'm not a Joe Biden fan. I don't want Joe Biden to be president either.
It looks like you lost another one.
That's something I do not want. But I'm also not willing to accept Donald Trump being able to run for president. Plain and simple. You got to think about this. How should this individual be able to run for president in the United States of America with 34 felony convictions and possibly 91 before it's all said and done? Listen to me. When felons like myself are not even allowed to vote in 41 states. In 41 states in the United States of America, felons are not even allowed to go to the ballots, but there can be a felon on the ballot. And then you realize through all of this, something is changing. And that's where Pluto comes into play. That's where Pluto comes into play. See, Pluto's at 1 degree of Aquarius, and it's retrograde. And so we're looking now and seeing how much the world has changed, how much the world's a different place, and how much more willing people are to take the radical approach to life. And all that does is open up the possibilities even more. Because you start to realize, man, if this shit has already been this crazy, if the world has already changed so much, think about how much crazier it can get. Think about how much more can change. And so that right there makes people have even more open minds. It's like, man, what the fuck is going on? Who knows? And it starts with the change up here. Ultimately, things have to change. Over the next 20 years, things have to change. The infrastructure of the United States has to change. The way that the world works has to change. NATO, as much as they want to get involved with the war in Palestine and Israel, they have a problem with that because Iran and Syria are going to eventually use a nuclear weapon. NATO can't deal with Russia and Ukraine the way that they used to because Putin will fire a nuclear or a biological weapon. That's why they haven't interfered to this day. They might send help, they might send supplies, but they have not directly interfered militarily because that is going to create a nuclear reaction. Pun intended and literal intention. The United States is not the power that it once was. And so it cannot do what it wants to do with Taiwan because China will check that shit. The United States infrastructure in itself has to change because ultimately something's going to happen with this election that is going to be unprecedented. I can't predict what it's going to be yet. But something unprecedented is going to come from that. Plain and simple. The infrastructure of the United States has to change because whether it's openly spoke on or not, a civil war in the United States is a direct possibility. It is a direct possibility. And so you just see that things have to change. Over the next 20 years, they're going to change. They have changed and they have to change more. You see, people are more interested in certain topics and people are more aware of things that are going on in other places of the world because of the technology. And the more the technology becomes advanced, the more we're going to be able to see and the more we're going to be able to make changes. But that stuff is going to seem radical at first. You also see the advent of AI coming on stronger over the last, I mean, it's been around for years, but over the last 6 months, people have started to see publicly the scope of the way that AI is working. Like, man, it's getting crazy. And we're just getting started. The things that people can do with pictures, the things that people can do with other people's voices is scary. Motherfucker have you in some shit and you didn't even do it. You have to check every song and every interaction and every post now to make sure that it's not AI. I get asked all the time, are you AI? I'm right here in the chat and people can see me, but they ask, are you AI? Is this AI? And sometimes they're playing and it's just hyperbole. But other times, people are like, man, is this AI? I see all the time. I'll see a post-game interview between two basketball players. And I'll have to listen to it very closely to what they're saying to know that it's AI because they might have Luka Doncic on there and he might be saying, this is the time for the white, and it's his voice saying this is the time for white people to take over. This is the time for black people to take a step back in the NBA. And people believe it because that's what people's minds think. Even though he would never say that. But once it's engaging and enough people get behind something, people can get behind some shit that's not even real, and it can start a whole bunch of shit. It can be very destructive. Now, ultimately, this is the time where people are going to see things get better eventually. But it's going to seem more destructive at first. So how you going to deal with it? How the fuck you going to deal with it, cuz? Just let it seep in. Now, the next thing we speak on is Chiron. Chiron is known as the wounded healer for those of y'all that are not familiar. And with Chiron being the wounded healer, what that represents is acknowledgement leading to healing. Acknowledgement that there is stuff that needs to be worked on. There is stuff that needs to be healed. Now, with this being in Aries, this comes from awareness. There's a certain awareness that comes into play through all of this. And hey, sometimes you have to be made aware forcefully. And that's what Chiron in Aries has done in a whole bunch of different ways. You become aware, and ultimately it's about yourself. It's aware of yourself, aware of something that you need to work on, aware of something that you have a problem with. That awareness allows for accountability. That accountability allows for actions that lead towards healing. It's that simple. Yeah, that's where we at with this. And so,
just want everybody to know that I've been at this hospital all this time, and you guys know that you've been following me, and you guys know that my relationship has completely crumbled, and I've lost everything that I thought was normal to me.
Hold on.
I came to see if I could help put some of my stuff in storage that Devontae Hardiman had left for me to do. While I'm up here at the hospital fighting with Trinity, I also have all the...
Anyway, you better be careful. You better be careful. And you have to be aware, because to be aware is to be alive. To be aware is to be alive. And so your awareness right now, your awareness of whatever you have going on in your life, your awareness of who you are, that also allows you to know what you're capable of. And that's not always a bad thing. Sometimes you need to be aware of where you are to realize how far you've come. That's beautiful in itself. Look how far you've come. That gives you the courage to keep going forward. Realize you're a warrior. Realize God is on your side. Realize that you just need to believe in yourself. Realize moving forward only takes one step. One step. That's the truth of it. It only takes one step.
It's the beat for you.
What's up, Felix the Rebel? Yeah, things gonna get crazy when Uranus hits Gemini next year. There's gonna be war. There's gonna be war. The people as a whole need to be prepared for that. Because war is inevitable. But things are going to get even crazier when Uranus... Jupiter and Gemini is setting the stage for Uranus to hit Gemini when things get even crazier. But right now, I think this is a preparation process. No, I'm talking about direct war where the United States is involved. There's war, but I'm talking about a global conflict. That's guaranteed. What's up, Calvin Stone Walks, by the way? How you doing, fam? But yeah, things are going to get a lot more interesting when Uranus hits Gemini. A lot more interesting. Now, let's talk about the Black Moon Lilith. And the Black Moon Lilith is known as the dark apogee of the moon. And so what the Black Moon Lilith represents is the shadow aspect of the energy. The shadow aspect of the energy. So, the Black Moon Lilith is sitting at 27 degrees of Virgo. So it's little bitty stuff that becomes the problem right now. The devil is in the details. Whether it's people not being able to see the forest because of the trees, or people not being able to enjoy their life because there's one small thing that's not perfect that's just fucking with them. Or is it people seeing the flaws everywhere else, but not realizing the stuff that they need to work on with self. People are going to be incredibly aware of the flaws right now. And that can make it hard to enjoy anything. People are going to be a lot more uptight too. There's a tendency to pick at other people to keep the situation unbalanced so that nobody can see your insecurities or your indiscrepancies. That's all a part of this energy. And Black Moon Lilith is now opposite to Neptune. And so there's small things that people are missing that are creating even more confusion. Like people are just missing the fucking point. They're focused on the wrong thing. When it comes to spirituality, they forgot it's about an inner journey for each one of us personally. How do you connect with divinity? Because that plays about in different ways. It's not just about what's trending and the fad that spirituality or metaphysics has become. I'm watching a church video yesterday, and the church band is in there playing, "They not like us, they not like us, they not like us." And I understand they're trying to connect with people on their terms, but they're also taking what's trending and they're making it a part of it. And so people want to be experiencing something cool. They don't want to, it's not that they want to learn about God or Jesus's plan for them. They want to be a part of that cool experience that presented, or they want to be able to go do that at church. There's other people who are taking this and making it something else. See, astrology is not something that you need to believe in. There's no faith involved. Plain and simple. This is not a religion or a spiritual sect. It's a tool for understanding. Astrology is the algorithm of an energetic significance. It's not about sun signs influence everything or star signs. It's about energy and the understanding of such. This is how the energy plays out. Now, you happen to be born at a certain time, and the astrological bodies were in a certain place at the time you were born. So there was an energetic significance that was created out of that is you. You feel me? Now, when you look at that from a transit perspective, what we see here is today, What I'm speaking on right now is an energetic significance. I've given y'all the understanding of the energetic significance that are happening right now because of where everything is placed. Now you can go also look at these placements and see how they're affecting your energetic significance. So there becomes an aspect that's created from that. Just so we understand each other. But people get misconstrued about that. Even people who are into astrology or whatever it is, they say, no, you know what? I believe in astrology. I don't do this. I believe, but you don't even need to believe in it. You believe with astrology. You don't believe in it. You believe with it. It's a tool. It's not a. It's not the project. You use the tool to work on the project. The project is you. Plain and simple. But people get so caught up in everything else, the small shit, that they forget about what it's really about. Hit the motherfucking like button if you're here. Now that brings us to the North Node. Now, in speaking on the North Node, we also speak on the South Node because this is an axis. And what these are the ellipticals of the moon's rotation here, or the moon's orbit. And so you have the North Node and you have the South Node. The South Node is the energy that's natural. It's what you usually do. It's that simple. Now, the North Node is what you need to be doing. It's the potential. Now, the North Node is at 13 degrees of Aries now, whereas the South Node is at 13 degrees of Libra. So people are naturally codependent right now. People are naturally more worried about what's going on with everybody else. People are sugarcoating things. People are playing games. When people just need to be straight up. Honesty is the best policy. You need to experience that truth as a verb. That's the best thing for you and your relationships. If you being honest in your expression is causing a problem in your relationship, then you need to assess your relationship. If you working on your own shit and taking care of you and doing what's right for you is a hindrance to your relationship, then that relationship ain't for you. Plain and simple. Stop worrying about what everybody else has going on and what everybody thinks about what you have going on and just handle your shit. I appreciate it, Heather. But yeah, just handle your shit. That's all you need to do. Stop worrying about what's going on in the world and just handle your shit. Through that, the world is a better place naturally. Your relationships are a lot more simple and thus a lot more honest. Do what's best for you right now. The universe is imploring you to do so. Be assertive in your approach. Be honest in your expression. Experience that truth as a verb. It'll help out everything. See, Neptune is sextile to Pluto, and that means there's a process going on. A beautification process. We're realizing that we can't go overthrow the government. We can't go defund the police. We can't just do that because that would probably result in apocalypse. No matter how much we want things to change drastically, we know that change has to be a process. But we also need to realize that that process starts with each one of us being a better person individually. If I work on my shit and I try to be a better person, and Heather Nielsen works on her shit and she tries to be a better person, and Tina Claire Marie works on her shit, and Calvin Stone works on his shit, and Marco works on his shit, then guess what? The world is naturally a better place. And you can only do what you can do on your part. I know you want to help as many people as you can, and that's cool, but first you need to get your shit sorted out. Because the world, as you view it, is more important than you ever think it will be, because you can only experience your world. You can only experience your world. That's the truth. You're influencing it, you're experiencing it. As much as you want to experience the world for your kids and make it safe for them, at the end of the day, they're still gonna have to face everything on their own terms. Plain and simple. And so what you can do is make your energy work more efficiently and work on yourself, and that will make the world a better place. Plain and simple. Work on your shit, and you will make the world a better place in that process. Stop worrying about what everybody else has going on, and stop letting other people's opinion of what you have going on influence you. Be honest. Be genuine. Experience your truth as a verb. You hear me? That's everything. That's everything. Everything. Now, looking at the numerology of the day, we're in an 8 vibration today. That's probably why there's been a lot of haters that tapped into this stream. And when you want to know how to calculate the vibration, or if you want to calculate your own life path, what you do is take the month, add it up, drop it down, if it needs to be added up. Take the date, add it up, drop it down. Take the year, add it up, drop it down. Then add all of those up and simplify. So it's June. No, it's not an 8 vibration today, as a matter of fact. I was wrong. I'm totally wrong. It's a 9 vibration. See? I had to work it out. But it's because I thought I was calculating it like it was May. It's June 4th, 2024. So June is a 6. You don't need to simplify that. You drop the 6 down. It's the 4th. You don't need to simplify that. You drop it down. So that's a 6 and a 4. 2024, that's why I just fixed it. You got it, Felix. You're right. It is a 9. I already corrected myself. I was thinking about it being May. I don't know why. I'm just now getting into June. But, and then 2024 is an 8. So 2 plus 2 is 4 plus 4 is an 8. So 6 plus 4 plus 8. That's 18. 1 plus 8 is 9. So we're in a 9 vibration. So this is about making the world a better place. Now there's a 4 that's involved in this energy because of the date. So it is a responsibility that you have. You know, take care of your business. Lay the foundation to make the world a better place. And the way you do that is by being a better person. Working on your shit. Going to work on you. The 4 is a very hard working energy. But it's also about laying foundation. It's about taking care of business. And so with that, you see, hey man, you lay the foundation for a better world by working on your shit, by handling your business. If you just mind your business, handle your business, the world is a better place naturally. It's that motherfucking simple. Now, before I go any further into the top 5 for today, I do want to answer Marco's question. Marco, you asked me about weed. Well, I obviously smoke cannabis. But I think that's one of the one tricky domains. I think certain psychedelics, the naturally occurring psychedelics like DMT and psilocybin are always worth and you know, when you look at DMT, you can look at all types of things, whether it's toad, whether it's smoking DMT, whether it's ayahuasca, however you want to look at it. DMT has its own realm there. But when you look at cannabis, it all depends on how you're using it. Now, other things I do have what's the word I'm looking for? A reticence with. Like when it comes to things that have to be manufactured in a process. And what's crazy is even cannabis has to be um, taken through a certain chemical process these days for them to get the results that they have with certain strains, and for them to speed up the growing process. What you want to understand is there's a lot of things that they have to do chemically to as far as pesticides, but also things that they have to do to speed up the cultivation process in order for it to be profitable. That's what happens when something becomes big business. Tobacco, the leaf, is not a problem. The additives that they put in tobacco are what carcinogens end up being. The things that they do to preserve things and to help things be in market as human beings are what ends up making it unhealthy. So when you're dealing with cannabis, as much as I love cannabis, you have to look at what are they doing in the process of growing it, because they're going to say it's organic just to make a whole other brand for it, but you can't trust that unless you've grown it yourself. And then there's also things that they have to do to make it stronger, to make it have a certain pungent flavor, to make it grow quicker so that they can cultivate it and sell it. And so there's that. With DMT even, unless you're taking it straight off the toad's back, it's still having to be put through a chemical process. So you have to wonder what that chemical process is doing to the natural occurrence of that substance. With psilocybin is one of the things that where it gets interesting, because you can grow that personally and use it as far as mushrooms go, use it sparingly. But when you're doing something that's increasing the process or speeding up the process in cultivation, you might be taking away some of those natural properties of it growing organically and it doing what it's supposed to do organically. And so I just think those are all things that you have to consider. Now, do I smoke cannabis? Yes. Have I done DMT? Yes. Have I taken psilocybin? I love it. I don't anymore because I don't necessarily need to. And I'm not in the healthiest space mentally for me to fuck with it like that. But you just have to look at how that goes. Now, acid, for them to make acid strips and all that shit, I'm not a big fan of acid. And I never have been. Once I did psilocybin or I did DMT, acid was bullshit to me anyway. Like, I stopped smoking cigarettes years ago because I've made my health a priority as far as dealing with that. I don't even drink alcohol. I did, but for my health, it's just not the healthiest thing for my digestive system. And so I don't like the way that I act on alcohol. And so to each his own, but I once again think when it comes to substances, you have to assess how they are influencing your life and also how you are getting them, and are you dependent on them? One of the beautiful things that I've had to do over the last 6 months is because of the throat issues that I had, I've had to get away from my cannabis dependency. I still indulge sparingly, but I can't smoke weed like I did before. And y'all know that. I used to sit here in the live session, I'd smoke blunt after blunt after blunt after blunt after blunt. And it was a part of the process. I smoked more weed than Snoop. Now, because I have some issues with my throat, I can't get down like that. So I can smoke it here and there. And a lot of the times I'm not even inhaling. I'll hit it and I puff it because it's part of the show. But I've also taken a big step back. And it's not because I don't love cannabis. It's because my body can't handle it. And now I've built up, I have an intolerance because I don't smoke like I used to. But I also have gotten to where I'm not dependent on it anymore. And that's a good thing. As much as people say, well, weed is an addiction. I have done things for weed that I wouldn't do for anything else or anybody. I've acted a fool. I've stole. I've treated people like shit. I've thrown fits over weed. And I am a Pisces moon, so that probably adds to the dynamic. But I know that weed is addicting. And I'm still addicted to it because I still haven't stopped. I just slowed down drastically. But when you've become dependent on something for your mood, like I can't get up and eat if I can't eat up and eat if I don't smoke. I'm gonna be in, my nerves gonna be bad if I don't smoke. I'm finna be agitated and treat people like shit because I ain't smoked no weed today. Like, then that becomes an issue. That's a chemical dependency. Army Airborne, I beg to differ. You can physically have a dependency on cannabis to where you will have withdrawals when you quit. Anything that you take and you end up having withdrawals upon taking it, then your body has become dependent on that. And I love weed. I smoke weed. But the fact of the matter is I've had to quit for years before. I went to prison. And when I smoked weed all day long and I had to stop immediately without tapering down, I couldn't eat. There's days that go by where I couldn't eat, where I had headaches. Plain and simple. There's days, and it wasn't mental, it's a physical thing. All of that shit. All of that shit. That is not a mental addiction. That is a physical addiction. If you cannot eat physically, if you have no appetite because you have not smoked cannabis, that's physical. If you're having headaches because you have not smoked cannabis, that's physical. And you're welcome to disagree. I love you. I'm not going to... You can wholly disagree. But the fact of the matter is you're dependent on it. No matter how you want to look at it, once you're dependent on it, that is something that you have to address personally. Plain and simple. That's something you have to address personally. But and I understand some people take it for depression. It is medicative. Marijuana is medicine. Cannabis is medicine. It helps me in way more ways than it hurts me. It helps me stay calm because I'm a very restless person. I'm ADD or ADHD. And I have been diagnosed, so it's not me self-diagnosing. But that's one of the very few things in my whole life since I was 14 years old that has made me be able to sit down and be calm. Other than that, I'll be pacing. I'll pace. Mushrooms, microdosing can be incredibly healing and medicating. But I also know that it does take for you to build up a tolerance. And to be honest with you, taking mushrooms every day actually releases or reduces, pardon me, I said releases, but the word is reduces the efficacy of the psilocybin. Plain and simple. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I used to do methamphetamines, and I've never had withdrawals other than sleep, other than going to sleep. Off methamphetamines. But I have had physical withdrawals off cannabis. When I stopped messing with dope, all I did was get sleepy and eat more. I didn't have any withdrawal. I wasn't shaking. I wasn't sick. I just went to sleep and I just ate more. And that's what's crazy when people are having trouble with that drug. Is like they're so afraid of going to sleep. Because that's all that's going to happen to you. Is you're going to go to fucking sleep. You're going to go to sleep. it was crazy when I think back at the things I used to do just to stay awake. Like, man, I'm getting tired. I need to get some dope. I'm getting tired. Like, what the fuck? Like, you're just getting tired, bro. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, that was the worst thing in the world. I was like, man, I'm getting sleepy. I'm starting to nod off. I wrecked so many cars. Put my child in danger even. Because I've wrecked cars driving. Dozed off. Bam. Flipped my fucking vehicle with my son in there with me. I've gotten into wrecks where I've endangered other people. Boom. Wrecked into people because I fell asleep in traffic. Coming down off dope. And so... I think it's different strokes for different folks, but when you become dependent on something, that is where you need to address it. So the question was about substances, and especially cannabis. I love cannabis. I love weed. I smoke weed. I have a vape right here. I got a blunt right here. I smoke. But I also know that I have an addiction to it. I also know that I don't use it as an enhancer anymore. I use it because, for me, my mind feels like, and when you say a mental addiction, this is with this. My mind feels like I need that to calm down. And so it's like, oh, I'm tripping. Let me calm myself down. Let me smoke instead of me meditating or me doing something healthier to calm myself down. Now, there are times where I do it as something recreational also, to where I say, hey, I want to eat more. I want to enjoy this meal more. I'm finna smoke before I eat. This shit finna taste good, or I'm finna eat a lot. It's Thanksgiving. I'm finna smoke me a blunt to the head so I can go ahead and go hard. Like, all of that shit is something that I do, and that's fine. But when it becomes something that I'm dependent on for me to be okay, that becomes an issue. And that's why I'm glad that I've able to reduce my intake. Is me realizing that I was dependent on that for me to have a good day. Like, I automatically when I used to be broke back in the day, I used to wake up and say, man, I ain't got no weed. I'm not gonna have a good day. I better have some weed so I can have a good day. And then I would have a miserable time until I found some weed. And then all of a sudden I take one puff. All it takes is one puff, and my whole day is better. My whole day is improved. I got into a fight with my best friend. He whooped my ass. I'm talking about beat the brakes off of me. What's up, Tiny Drea? Where you been, baby? But yeah, my best friend, I was tripping on him, talking shit to him. We didn't have no weed. We were roommates at the time. This is when I was in college. No, I was just getting out of college, right before I went to prison, actually. And we didn't have any weed. We're both weed heads. He's a Cancer sun, Aquarius moon. I'm a Cancer sun, Pisces moon. But we didn't have any weed, and he was okay, per se, compared to me. But I was pissed. We didn't have no fucking weed. I went out trying to steal, got in trouble. We didn't have no weed, and I wanted some weed so fucking bad. There wasn't no roaches, there wasn't nothing. And so I'm talking that shit to him. I'm being disrespectful to him. My lady friend came over. She's like, man, I can get some weed. You know, I'm gonna get some. But I'm treating her bad and shit. So me and him end up getting into it, or I end up being disrespectful towards him, and he ends up whooping my ass. And I took that ass whooping. I mean, he beat the shit out of me. He's a big old dude, though. He's probably 6'2". Well, he's about 6'1". He's 6'1". Right now, he's probably like 300 pounds. But back then, he was like 250 pounds, solid muscle. And this is before I went to prison, before I got my muscles. So I'm probably 5'11", 6 foot. And at that time, I weighed 140 pounds. Now I weigh 200 pounds. I weigh 200 right now. But then I was 5'11", 140. So I was really skinny. And that motherfucker hit me 4 times, dropped me 4 times, and knocked me out the 4th one. I mean, that's the truth. I mean, he wasn't even, when I say he beat the shit out of me, he wasn't even trying to fight me. He was trying to get away from me. I was trying to fight him. He was trying not to hurt me, and he still beat the shit out of me. And so, I remember I woke up, or when I got up from getting knocked out, they left me in a field outside. I went upstairs, and the weed had arrived. And when the weed had arrived, it erased the fact that I had got my ass whooped. It erased the fact to me that I had showed my ass and disrespected everybody. And I was just so happy that the weed has arrived. Like, and I didn't even have to smoke it. It was there, and I felt better. And that's when I knew it was something that was addictive. That's when I knew it was something that was an addiction for me. Plain and simple. I have that thing where it's a mental thing. Even when I did other substances, whether it be dope or opioids, which I used to have a thing with back in the day, me just knowing that I has it, I didn't have to do it. I didn't even have to do it. Back in the day, I didn't have to do the dope. As long as I had some dope, I was good. Me just knowing it was there made everything all right. As long as I had some pills, because when I did opioids, it wasn't heroin. It was hydrocodone pills, or Lortabs, Lorcets, those. And so it was just like, man, as long as I had them, I was cool. It didn't matter. I wouldn't go through withdrawals because I had the shit. And so that dependency, it is very interesting, and it is a motherfucker. So once again, it's about understanding yourself and your relationship to substances. A lot of times it's not about the substance itself, it's your relationship. I have a friend of mine who does every drug. My brother, my big brother, he has a successful business. He has ran it for years. And my brother's a millionaire. A fucking millionaire. And this motherfucker I've seen him. He smoked crack. I've never smoked crack, but he smoked crack. He'll go out to bars with his friends and snort powder. He'll fucking drink when he's not work. I mean, he does shit, but he never lets it become a problem for him. It's different for me. He can do crack today and never do it again. He can snort cocaine tonight and not go get another bag tomorrow. If I smoked crack, I'm gonna be smoking crack. If I snorted powder, guess what? We snorting powder now. I'm a powderhead now. That's the truth. That's how it gets for me. And so me knowing my relationship to substances changes everything. My brother is different. But all through knowledge of self, have I been able to attack those things and overcome them? It's crazy. And so, when you're talking about substances, I think drugs are a slippery slope. And my mother and my father were both drug addicts. I've been a drug addict. My sister's a drug addict. My brother has done drugs, but he's not a drug addict. He only does things every once a year recreationally, because I mean he's a businessman. What's up, 369 Dimension Readings? But yeah, you have to assess your relationship to substances. Now, I think what we're gonna do next is get into the PrIcElEs top 5 funniest placements in astrology. Now, before I get into that, there's a few things that we have to understand. First of all, any placement can be funny. I just picked out the top 5, but this is my professional opinion. And this is priceless knowledge of self. There's lots of funny placements, but these are the funniest that I've experienced and that I've observed. And I myself have read thousands of charts. And hold on. If you have a friend of yours who is hilarious, but they're not on the list, they're hilarious. Okay, that doesn't mean they're not hilarious. There's all kinds of things that could play out. Aspects make a difference too. All right. But first, I gotta let my dog out. Y'all know I'm gonna be back in 1 minute. It's gonna take me 1 minute. So y'all give me 1 minute to go let my dog out. And then I'm gonna come back and we're gonna get into the price list top 5 funniest placements in astrology. Yeah. We back. You said Leos get on the list. Well, we're doing specific placements, so it's not going to be just a sign. There's going to be some sun signs, but not predominantly sun signs. So, I need a few more of y'all to hit that like button. I need some of y'all to hit that Cash App, to hit that super sticker, that super thanks, that super chat. Let me know you fuck with me. You hear me? And fucking smile. Because this is going to be a quick list. It ain't that deep. It's fun. Yeah. And so, before we get into the actual top 5, I do have an honorable mention. Let me turn this down so I can talk a little bit quieter. And I probably could have put several honorable mentions, but we're gonna do a top 5 here. All right. And so, our only honorable mention on the list of the price list top 5 funniest placements in astrology is Sagittarius rising. And let me be honest with you. With Sagittarius rising, the thing is they're kind of silly. They're goofy. And they can make other people laugh just with a look. And a lot of the times they can see the irony in things because they have such an amazing scope of the big picture. And so they can make light of situations and make fun of things that other people might be taking seriously. Matter of fact, sometimes you're going to meet some Sagittarius rising where you're like, man, do you take anything fucking serious? man, they understand that it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. Straight like that. And so they're only an honorable mention because a lot of the times they're not like directly funny. It's just like their energy is kind of goofy or silly, and so it's just like, man, they can just make something that might seem serious to everybody else not be that big of a deal because they see the big picture that it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't fucking matter. And a lot of times they can just look at you and they can smile or they can start laughing and they can do it. Like when you look at Sagittarius energy in its entirety, it can be funny. There's something about it. Like I was watching Kevin Hart and PlAcEmEnTs, their stream here on YouTube. One of the funniest and most organic interactions you will ever see. For those of y'all that don't know who PlAcEmEnTs is, he's a popular streamer. He's very popular. He's known all over. But him and Kevin Hart come on there. And they have like this interaction that was just them fucking having fun. And it's about the experience. It was so organic and it was such Sagittarius energy. Now, PlAcEmEnTs is a Sagittarius sun, Sagittarius rising, Capricorn moon. Whereas Kevin Hart is a Cancer sun, Sagittarius moon. So I'm really looking at Sagittarius energy in its entirety. But you just see them like watching them. Even when they're not trying to be funny, it's like they're funny. Like it's because they're silly. And they're just enjoying that experience. They were just enjoying that moment. To where you're like, damn, these is two grown ass men having a fucking play date. That's ultimately what it was. It's like two grown-ass men having a play date, and they're just fucking trying different shit, just having fun. It's like, it got to the point where they're like, man, I'm having so much fucking fun, and that shit was so fucking positive, but also funny. It was fucking funny. Just from watching that interaction, it's like, man, I've heard my kids, and I've seen it, but I'm older. I've noticed who Kai was because I watched celebrity basketball games and I see little stuff, but it made me start watching Kai. Like, damn, I like that little dude. And it's because his smile is infectious. And just the way that they go about things, it's just like, man, that shit was funny. And it's the stuff he's doing. It's not the stuff he's saying, it's the stuff he's doing. With Kevin Hart, he has that Cancer energy, so he talks about his family. So you see that's how the Cancer plays out. But that's that Sagittarius thing, where it's like Kevin, like he just has this energy that comes across very positively. It's very positive. You can look at Kai and Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj is another Sagittarius. They have another one of those genuine interactions where it's just like, and they're both Earth Moon, so you know that they're serious about their business. But they have one of those interactions where the way Nicki was conducting herself, the way he was conducting herself, is like, god damn, like what the fuck is this shit? And with Sagittarius rising, you have to understand it's that Aquarius on the third house there. And so that Aquarius on the third house is just like quirky. It's just like something different. Like, man, it's like that is such a breath of fresh air. And so it was definitely cool. It's definitely cool. But that's just the honorable mention. All right. It's just the way that they conduct themselves, the silliness of them. It's funny. And so Sagittarius rising is our only honorable mention on the list of the PrIcElEs top 5 funniest placements in astrology. And it's just like, they're willing to take it there where nobody else is willing to take it. It's not about taking it to the extreme like Scorpio might. But it's just like they're willing to take it there. They're and it's just because it's not a big deal to them. They took it there because it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. And they can make friends with anybody because of Aquarius being on the 3rd house. So it's like there's something different about each one of them that you kind of get like, okay. And sometimes it's annoying. But yeah, Sagittarius rising and Sagittarius energy in its entirety is the only honorable mention on our list. Now, let's get into the actual top 5. And number 5 on the list of the PrIcElEs top 5 funniest placements in astrology. Capricorn moon. Now, before you trip out and say Capricorn, yes, Capricorn. See, Capricorn moon people, and really Capricorn energy period, is sarcastic. There's this dry sense of humor that comes with the Capricorn moon. To where it's like, they're serious, but it's funny. And also, their comedic timing is impeccable. The comedic timing of a Capricorn moon is impeccable. It's not just what they said or how they said it, it's when they said it. That's another thing that I noticed once again with Kai Cenat. Is that Capricorn, like, his timing is excellent with everything. With everything. And so there's this sarcasm and this dry sense of humor that comes with the Capricorn moon, where it's just, and my dad's a Capricorn moon. So I see this all the time. It's just like, he's being an asshole, but it's funny. You get what I mean? Like, you're being an asshole, but it's also funny. And like it's just his timing is everything. It's everything. It's beautiful. Capricorn moons, they're the kings and queens of sarcasm. Capricorn moons have this dry sense of humor to where it's just like, that was kind of fucked up, but the world is fucked up. The world is fucked up. So once again, that comedic timing, but also that irony. They just like Sagittarius in that way, the Capricorn moon sees the irony of it. They see the irony of audacity. And then they also just like, they're talking shit. Not in the same way as Virgo energy, which is definitely going to be on the list, but they're talking shit. They're talking shit, but it's fucking hilarious. It's fucking hilarious. Like, what? And sometimes they're serious as fuck. They're just talking shit. They're being sarcastic, but it's still fucking funny. Like, man. Like, and sometimes you with the Capricorn moon, you're like, before you even get fucking started, like, chill out. Like, don't fucking start. Because once they get started, they're in that impeccable timing where it's like, God damn, like, man, why'd you get this motherfucker started talking shit? And so the sarcasm, that dry sense of humor, that's definitely there. Sometimes it's hard for people who are goofier or people who are really sensitive to really get a hold of it. That's why they're only number 5. But the fact that their comedic timing is impeccable is the reason why Capricorn moons are number 5 on the list of the PrIcElEs top 5. funniest placements in astrology. You hear me? Now, let's look at number 4. And number 4 is kind of loaded because I came to number 4 while I was looking at another placement. Because number 4 on the list of the PrIcElEs top 5 is Mercury in Pisces. Now, here's the thing about Mercury in Pisces. Is I came to Mercury in Pisces while I was looking at Aries suns. Because as I was researching for this list and I was thinking about it, I was looking at Martin Lawrence and Eddie Murphy. And they're both Aries suns. And first of all, they both have this aggressiveness to them. And they have this this impulsive nature to them. But also the way that they play characters was something I was like, I bet they have Mercury in Pisces. And so I went and looked, and sure enough, they have Mercury in Pisces. So the thing about Mercury in Pisces, and the reason why they're number 4 on the list, is they're amazing actors and performers. And they play characters like none other. And they have this understanding of human nature that's inherent. So that's why they can imitate, or not even imitate, they can become anything. Gemini imitates. Pisces becomes. Eddie Murphy, you know that's Eddie Murphy doing Mama and Papa Clump and doing Sherman, but he is also Sherman, and Mama Clump is also her own person, and Papa Clump is also his own person. Norbit and Rasputia are their own people, and they're all hilarious in their own way, which is crazy. Papa Clump has that drier, more attitude-ish, kind of Capricorn sense of humor, where he's talking shit and he's Mama Clump is sweet and genuine, and it's just kind of like oh, you know what I mean? But it's hilarious. With Sherman, it's clumsy Aquarian, and you see how that Mercury and Pisces with their mind, it plays out in that way. And they just understand human dynamics. When you look at Martin is hilarious in his own way because he understands people. So when he's ragging on people and he's making fun of people, nobody does it better than him. Nobody does it better than him. Like when he came on Def Comedy Jam and he started out, that was must-see TV. When Martin Lawrence came as the host of Def Comedy Jam, the comedians that were on there were fine, but you came for Martin. You came for Martin. Martin's going to look at people, he's going to understand, he's going to talk shit about them, but through an inherent understanding of who that individual was and him making, him acting like him, hobo scratch. Then on top of that, when you look at the character he plays, you look at Shanae. Shanae is fucking hilarious because she's Shanae. Not because it's Martin playing Shanae, but because it's Shanae. Now, it's ironic that you remember all them. Now, that's Martin, so that makes it even more funnier. But Shanae is funny in her own right. Otis, the security guard, is funny in his own right. Jerome is funny in his own right. Roscoe is funny in his own right. When you watch Martin being himself, he's not even that funny. When you see him in Bad Boys, he's funny, but he's not as funny as he is in those other things. But him being able to make these caricatures, not just characters, but caricatures, and right in front of your face and become these different entities is awesome. And when it comes to him being funny, he's funny in a whole bunch of different ways because of the different ways that he can come across in each character he presents. That's the truth. And all of that is why Mercury in Pisces is number 4 on the list of the price list. Top 5 funniest placements in astrology. Now, time to get into the top 3. 1, 2, 3. Y'all remember that commercial back in the day? Some of y'all ain't old enough, but back in the day, they'd say, how many licks does it take to get to the center of the Tootsie Pop? And there's an owl, and the owl would say, 1, he'd lick it once, 2, 3, and then he'd bite he'd bite it. But yeah, I don't know why that ran across my head, but yeah. All of that is perfect sense right there. Now, number 3 on the list of the price list, top 5 funniest placements in astrology, could actually be number 1 if we want it to be, because a lot of comedians that are associated with this placement are some of the top comedians. And then you also, what's interesting is see that number 3, some of the people with number 3 also have number 2. They go hand in hand, so it makes them even funnier. But number 3 on the list of the price list, top 5 funniest placements in astrology. Virgo suns. Hey, do I need to say anything else? Dave Chappelle, Cat Williams, Wanda Sykes. Those are Virgo suns. And the first thing that comes into mind when you're dealing with Virgo suns is they notice everything. They notice the things that nobody else notices. Second, they are sharp. They're incredibly intelligent, well-informed, well-spoken. 3, they talk a lot of shit. They talk a lot of shit. For real. Virgo suns are hilarious, and it's like, man, like, a lot of the times they're not even like with Capricorn suns, funny as it is with the Earth energy, they're not even being funny. They're just talking shit. They notice everything, and they talk shit about everybody and everything. And so if you slipping or you fucking up, or they see something that has a discrepancy in it, they're gonna speak on it. They're gonna speak on it. You know, both Dave Chappelle and Cat Williams have made their bones by talking about what's wrong with things. They do it in a hilarious way, and they've perfected their technique, which also makes them hilarious. But a lot of the times when you talk about Cat Williams, he's looking at political issues. He's looking at racial issues, social issues, and the same with Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle is hilarious because of the funny narrative he creates off the social issues he observes. Plain and simple. Oh, I forgot Richard Pryor on the Sagittarius is also Sharon Crawford. Yeah, Richard Pryor. But I didn't do Sagittarius suns, so maybe not Richard Pryor. But anyway, yeah, man, Virgo suns, man, like they pick everything apart, but in them picking everything apart, they have a way of embellishing it and making it funny. They have a way of embellishing things and making it funny. Now, we're going to get back to embellishment on number 2, because this is probably the reason why they're so good at embellishing things. But looking at this, I had just seen a pattern with Virgo suns that they notice the things that other people don't notice, and they speak on it. When you look at Wanda Sykes, Wanda be talking shit. Wanda be talking shit. And so, damn, my son is walking all the way to practice. But so, with Wanda talking so much shit, with her noticing things and speaking on things that nobody else noticed, it is. And a lot of the times, I'm going to tell you, when it comes to ragging on people, they're some of the best too. Because when you walk up or when you address them, they're going to pick your ass apart just like that. They're going to notice everything wrong with you. Everything wrong with you. And they're intelligent, so they can put it together beautifully. 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 So yeah. Hold on. So all of that is why Virgo sons are number 3. Because they notice everything. They're more intelligent than everybody. And they talk a lot of shit. And they know how to put it together perfectly. Perfectly. They perfect their craft. So if they're comedians, they're going to perfect that. No matter how you feel about them personally, for most people in the comedic community, Dave Chappelle is considered the GOAT right now. Richard Pryor was for a while. Eddie Murphy was for a while. Martin Lawrence was for a while. Kevin Hart is considered commercial. But Cat Williams, Dave Chappelle, they kind of compete for who's considered the GOAT of comedy. So you see that. Now, what's interesting is they both also have this next placement that's number 2 on the list. Hold up. I gotta send this text out. And so, number 2 on the list happens to be one of my own placements. One of my favorite placements of mine. It's probably why a lot of y'all tune in. But number 2 on the list of the PrIcElEs top 5 funniest placements in astrology. Mercury in Leo. First of all, Mercury and Leo are experts at embellishment. That's where Cat Williams and Dave Chappelle have the common thing right there too, because they both have Mercury and Leo. Just a second, my son's at the door. Yes. You can't take him outside. You can't take him outside. Okay. And let me help you out, Winston Smith. I know you ain't calling nobody generic with a name like Winston Smith. You sound like you 86 years old. Shut your ass up. Winston Smith. Oh, hold up. Yeah. You seem like you might have been a conductor on the Underground Railroad. Yeah. Now, anyway, Mercury in Leo makes people experts at embellishment, and they can exaggerate better than anybody. But you know what that does? It makes them amazing storytellers. That's one thing I know about myself. I'm funny in a way, but it's because I'm such an amazing storyteller. I know how to captivate you. I know how to draw you in. I know how to embellish. And that's one of the things that some comedians do well, but others don't. But when you look at Cat Williams, you look at Kevin Hart, you look at Dave Chappelle, you see Mercury and Leo. When Kevin Hart is telling stories, that's when he's at his funniest. When Dave Chappelle is telling stories, that's when he's at his funniest. He's created a whole genre with the true stories that he just embellished of Rick James and Charlie Murphy. Plain and simple. It's Charlie Murphy telling the stories, and he's hilarious too. Which Charlie Murphy is a Cancer also, with Mercury and Leo. Just so we know that. But you see how that goes. You see how that plays out. Like, you see him tell these stories. You see him embellish in a way that is hilarious. They know how to exaggerate just enough. They know how to speak on something in such a way that it's captivating. I mean, that's just what it is. When Kevin Hart is telling you about the motherfucking ostrich, or telling you the stories of him when his homeboy fell out of the raft when they're whitewater rafting, when he's telling you about the raccoon outside of his door, when he's telling you about the experience he had with SpongeBob at his daughter's birthday party, that shit is hilarious. Whether you agree with Kevin Hart or not, that shit is hilarious. When Cat Williams is telling y'all about the stories about his daughter and the cereal, and he's telling when he's doing that, he has a way of embellishing things that makes it funny. See, he's a Virgo, and he a lot of times he's telling, but the way he words things, the elaboration that he puts into it, the embellishment is what also makes him incredibly funny. I can sit here and tell y'all about a traumatic experience that I had with my dad being sexually inappropriate. But I can embellish it in a way that makes you laugh, even though it was something that was traumatic and disrespectful and inappropriate and abusive. Kevin Hart's dad being a crackhead and going to his school with his dick jumping around is really inappropriate, and it's really something that as a kid is like traumatic. People make fun of you because of that. You deal with it, but as you grow up and you gain perspective on it, you tell this story, it becomes something that you've embellished in a way that ends up being comedic. When Dave Chappelle makes up these stories about what's the dude's name? The black blind Klansman? Whatever his name was. He makes up the story of this black blind Klansman. He makes up the story of when keeping it real goes wrong. He makes up the story of the hater awards, the hater awards. And so you kind of see how that kind of becomes something that plays out in a way that is what's the word I'm looking for? Funny. Yeah, Tina Claire Marie, when you see Dave Chappelle speaking the story of the baby on the corner, that's one of the funniest things I've ever seen myself. I'm talking about, as stupid and as silly as it is, him saying that he saw that baby on that corner selling them drugs, and then seeing the baby in the club in that girl's pussy is hilarious. Like, that shit is hilarious. Plain and simple. I myself have a way of telling stories that happened to me in real life, but I have a way of embellishing it in a way and expressing it in a way that is funny. And I know that. No matter how not funny the situation really is. And I have characters that I play myself here. I allow myself to play into my ego in a certain way when I'm here. I'm myself, but there also are certain times where I'm playing into my character more than anything. Y'all love when I'm authentic and I'm genuine, but there's also when I'm playing into my bravado and I go into that sexual savant mode and I go into that's me. That's a part of my character, but that's also something I'm embellishing at that moment. I know how to embellish certain elements of my personality in ways that ends up being funny. Me being a cheating, sorry piece of shit, and the stories I tell was not funny, but the way I told it was funny. Me experiencing the things that I experienced with psychedelics in those trip stories that I told y'all, which some of y'all need to go watch my trip reports here. You just have to put in priceless knowledge of self, trip report, or 3 tragic tales of toxic treachery. I tell stories, like there's hour-long stories that I have here on this channel that y'all might have missed because they were about 3 years old. But I went in and I told y'all some stuff that really happened to me. But that shit is fucking hilarious. That shit is hilarious. And it's hilarious to me. But that storytelling skill, that expert embellishment is what makes Mercury and Leo number 2 on the list of the PrIcElEs. Top 5 funniest placements in astrology. What's up, Alien Moon Mom? How you doing? Now, does anybody want to guess what number 1 is? I'll give you half price on the service if you guess what number 1 is. 3 of y'all, only the first 3 people. Am I giving a shot to? So 3 of y'all got a chance. No. Virgo Mercury is not it. Alicia Markovic. Or Alicia Markovic. Gemini Mercury, no. Close, but no cigar. One more person gets a guess. Nobody else wants to guess, or I'm just going to say it. What's up, Shumani Romani? I'm sending love to South Africa from Narnia. Cancer Sun, no. Oh, wait. Tina Claire Marie was actually right. Number 1 on the list of the PrIcElEs top 5 funniest placements in astrology. Gemini Suns. And they don't even have to be comedians professionally. Gemini Suns are funny, period. Everybody knows a funny ass. That's why you fuck with them, even though they ain't shit a lot of the times. Gemini Suns people are fucking funny. They're observant. And they're clever. Very clever. And they're amazing at imitation. They can imitate anything they've seen anybody else do in front of them. So that power of imitation, that cleverness, that observantness is really, really helpful in them being fucking funny. And it really plays out in all of it. They can embellish. They're intelligent. They're clever. They can. A lot of them can act. A lot of them can imitate. It's not the same thing or quite as encompassing as Mercury and Pisces, but they can do that. They're silly a lot of the times. They come across in different ways. They can be very introspective and all of that. They can be sarcastic. They can have a dry sense of humor. A lot of them have great timing. All of that shit. And so, yeah, like, Gemini sun's like, God damn, like, if you weren't so likable, I would hate you. You owe me money. You stole from me. You've been cheating on me. But your ass is fucking funny. Like, what the fuck? Like, they just have a way about doing things that's fucking funny. You want to see an example? Have y'all ever seen the movie Be Cool? Well, let's think about Andre 3000 on Be Cool. He's not even a main character in that movie. But the way he came across in that movie is hilarious. The little things, what he does with his pinky, the way he carries himself, the couple of speaking parts he does have, fucking hilarious. It's not just what they say, it's how they say it, when they say it, it's all of that shit. And then also, it's just like, man, that shit was clever. Like, more than anybody else, is just like, they'll say some shit and you'll look at them like, what the fuck? And it makes sense. It's multi-layered. It's funny, but it's also real. And you're just like, what? And they make you think. And they're mischievous on top of that. Even if it's not what they're saying, it's what they're doing. They're fucking mischievous. Like, they're always playing. Even when you think they're not, like, they're playing. Like, as serious as he was, if you think Andre 3000 was not playing with that flute album, like, he just played and y'all accepted it. He didn't know what the people were gonna do, but he, you know what I'm saying? It's like, he sold so many of them. Like, he can say with a sly smile, he got over on your ass. Like, he got over on you. He got over on you. And then also with Geminis, like, they can imitate just about anything. Anything. And a lot of the times they have the capacity to do impersonations better than anybody. They can observe how your mannerisms express themselves. They can observe how you talk, and then they can mimic that. You see people like Godfrey, who's great at imitation. You see people like, what's the other brother? Jay Farrow. Those are amazing impersonators. And like we just said, they're very observant. They notice everything without paying attention. And so all of that, all of it, is why Gemini suns are number one on the list of the PrIcElEs top 5 funniest placements in astrology. So, just to review the list, the only honorable mention on the list of the PrIcElEs top 5 funniest placements in astrology was Sagittarius rising. Because they're silly. And it's not just what they say, what they do, it's their energy. That it can make you laugh, it can make you smile. It's just like, man, like, their silliness, their willingness to look at the big picture and see that it's not a big deal. It is funny. It is funny. You see the silliness that comes with Kai Cenat or Kevin Hart. So you see how silly they are. And then when you look at number 5 on our list, this is Capricorn Moon, and that's because Capricorn Moons are very sarcastic. They have a dry sense of humor like none other, and their comedic timing is impeccable. Number 4 on the list of the PrIcElEs top 5 funniest placements in astrology was Mercury and Pisces, because they know how to make light of things. They're amazing actors or actresses or performers all the way around, and they play characters like none other. They have an understanding of human expression that is divine. So they don't just imitate like Gemini does. They become. So they can come across funny in a multitude of ways. Like I said, when you see the characters that Eddie Murphy plays, you see the characters that Martin Lawrence plays, that shit is fucking funny. And it's funny in a multifaceted way because each one of those is complex in its own way. They're complexly comedic. Number 3 on the list of the PrIcElEs top 5 funniest placements in astrology was Virgo suns, because they notice everything. They're incredibly intelligent. They talk a lot of shit. And they will pick your ass apart or pick a situation apart like none other. And they perfect their craft. So some of the most accomplished comedians are Virgo suns. Now, number 2 on the list of the PrIcElEs top 5 funniest placements in astrology are Mercury and Leo people, because we're amazing storytellers and we are experts at embellishment, maybe even exaggeration. And we have a stage presence. That's another thing. And then number 1 on the list of the PrIcElEs top 5 funniest placements in astrology, Gemini suns, because nobody's more clever, nobody's more observant, and nobody's more awesome at imitation. And they're mischievous. They're just mischievous. So they can do stuff like practical jokes. They can do stuff to fuck with you. And a lot of times they'll just be fucking with your head, but it's funny too. Like, damn, like why you doing me like that? And so all of that is the PrIcElEs top 5 funniest placements in astrology. Now this has been a great top 5 today. We're gonna be here for maybe another 30 minutes. So if anybody has any questions, let's get them out of the way. If there's anything else that y'all want to vibe with, let's vibe with it. And then I'm gonna go, and then I'll try to be here tomorrow. I can't guarantee it, but I'm gonna try to be here tomorrow for the new moon. That's good, Heater. Am I a trader? Are you talking about stock trading, Rushy? No, I don't trade crypto. No, I'm not into stock trading. I should be, but I'm not. I'll probably be pretty good at it. Does anybody have any questions? Tomorrow will be a full question and answer session after we talk about the new moon. But we're here for another 30 minutes or so, vibing, whatever. So we can talk about anything y'all want to talk about. We can laugh, we can play, we can, whatever it is. I'm here for y'all for the vibe for the next, really 40 minutes. Oh, you want to ask about placement. Double A gonna try to make me go to work. Mars in conjunct Pluto in the 6th house. I mean, you have a lot of energy, and sometimes you don't know how to control it. That's really what that means. So you have to understand how your energy works, because the in conjunction represents an infamiliarity. And so you need to figure out how your energy works so you can get a good control of it, because you have this dynamic energy that fills you sometimes. But you also have a taste for secrecy and covert operations. And so sometimes it's like your energy comes out wildly at the wrong time, or sometimes you trip the fuck out and you don't understand, but it's just because you don't realize how your energy works specifically for you. So understanding how your energy works will also help you get control of it, because when you lose control, it's dangerous. What does it mean to have the North Node in 9th house in Taurus in the composite chart? Means y'all are meant to travel and enjoy life together, travel and get money and just enjoy it. Like, that's beautiful. But yeah, all of that. How can transiting Pluto be conjunct your Aquarius moon in the 1st and your Gemini South Node in the 5th? It can't be conjunct to your Gemini South Node. It can be conjunct to your moon, but that means it's trine to your South Node. I don't know what happened, y'all. They're just not in the top 5. I had some connectivity issues for a second there. But yeah, Cancer placements can definitely be funny. They can also be mean. They can also be crazy. They can also be soft and crybaby. There's a lot of things that can come with being a Cancer. Cancers have such an emotional intelligence that they can be really funny, especially when they talk about their family and how they feel about certain things. What's up, Mr. Muscles? But yeah, I would look at Cancer placements as some of the funnier. They just didn't make the top 5 list today. They might have been number 7. Mr. Muscles, I don't want to talk about AIDS. Preferably not. I'm talking about astrology. But yeah. I don't know what you mean by get straight. Because I'm not concerned with people's sexuality. I'm concerned with their spirituality. I want people to be able to love who they want to love without judgment. Next question. Next vibe. Could Neptune be considered a malefic? Neptune is the malefic. Neptune is the most underestimated malefic out of all of them. Neptune is a motherfucker. Neptune is definitely malefic. Malefic. Saturn, Neptune, Mars can be malefic. Pluto is considered malefic. So yeah. Why is the Taurus moon considered exalted? Because that's the calmest place for the moon. It's safe, it's calm. And so that's a good thing for the moon. It's safe, it's stable, it's calm. Whereas Scorpio, even though it's water, is dangerous, toxic, turbulent. And that's why the moon falls in Scorpio. The same reason why Uranus is exalted in Scorpio, but falls in Taurus. Because Uranus in Taurus doesn't like stability. It's going to shake things up. It's going to fuck with that energy. It's going to make it irritated. Whereas in Scorpio, it's extreme. It's transformative. It's intense. So yeah. That's why that's why the moon is exalted in Taurus. Could Uranus be considered a malefic? Yes, it could be considered a malefic, but I don't necessarily know if it is. I would look at it as something that's more neutral. I would have to see how it's functioning in the chart. But I would also say that as far as by the book goes, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto aren't really assigned technically. But they can be functional malefics. The same thing with Mars. You feel me? What if you have Aquarius, Mars in the 7th house, trine Venus? It means you just like different things. You're not into the same stuff that everybody else is into, and your energy doesn't work the same as everybody else's, and you don't conform very easily. But that's not a bad thing. It makes your life more interesting and more fun. Put you in touch with more people. So that's not necessarily something that's detrimental to you. You feel me? I had to take this off for a second. But yeah, it actually helps you. That trine. Puts you in touch with more people. Makes your life more interesting. It helps you enjoy life more, ultimately. Hope that helps. If y'all fucked with the list today, I need some of y'all to hit that super chat, that super sticker, that super thanks, or hit that motherfucking Cash App or that Venmo, that PayPal. Why you running off, Daisy? Yes, I look at Vedic astrology concerning the moon. I'm always into nakshatras. And the moon nakshatra is the most important. Whereas the sun is where you're labeled in Western astrology, the nakshatra that your moon falls in is more going to be determinative of your life and your label in Vedic astrology. Like, I'm a Shatabishak moon. But that means I'm a Shatabishak. That's what I would say is I'm Shatabishak nakshatra. You're Punarvasu, ruled by the goddess Aditi. Aditi is the mother of all gods and goddesses. And it's about going back to source. It's the source. And it's ruled by Jupiter. But it also had, you know, in the moon, there's Cancer and Gemini energy, but it's ruled by Jupiter, so there's a certain Sagittarian quality to it. It's very blessed. Punarvasu. But yeah, it's all about source. And going back to source specifically. It's also very sexual, very divine. There's a lot of divine feminine energy with Punarvasu. And it's like Cancer and Gemini. It has some Cancer to it and some Gemini to it. Like Shatabishak for me is all Aquarius. But it's also about astrology and hidden knowledge. And it's about rebellion and nonconformity. It's about isolation. All of that. Addiction. It's about power dynamics, humanitarianism, friendship, disgrace.
Alright, y'all, man, let's check this out. So listen, so when it comes...
So yeah, I hope that helps. You are very blessed. Anybody else have anything they want to share? Well, Licious Booty, if you're Aquarius rising in tropical, then that would probably mean you're a different nakshatra than Shatabishak. Shatabishak falls almost entirely in the Pisces tropically. There's a little bit of Aquarius, but it's almost all in Pisces. But yeah. Hey. Saturn in Scorpio people, what lessons would they have to learn? How to control those intense emotions of theirs, but also how to be with people and deal with people of genuine emotion and not using them. They have to get rid of their ulterior motives with Saturn and Scorpio. Develop true bonds and true friendships with people. And also beyond that, they have to learn how to deal with the extremes that come with that Scorpio energy. So they have to stop being so secretive to the point that it's devious or obtruse. And really learn how to open up healthily. Well, I mean, you have to look at the energy of Shravanya and see how Shravanya plays out. Shravanya. And that's just how you see him in Vedic astrology. You know, they're rising, but it's also it's your outward personality. But I mean, you have to look at with Shravanya. Look at like Lord Vishnu is the ruler of or is the Lord of Shravanya, and Vishnu is the preserver of the universe, and Vishnu is responsible for the laws of nature and order and the peaceful running of the universe. And that is Aquarian in its way. Speaking about not just self, but the whole. And Shravanya Nakshatra has that role function in society. Is remember, it's not just about you. It's remember about that you're a part of this universe and you have a place in it, and that you have to do what you can to help it maintain a healthy function. Atura Ashada is Sagittarius and Capricorn, and it's an elephant. It's either the tusk or the back, but it's about Atura Ashada is about how do you become undefeated. I have Mars in Atura Ashada, but you have to ask yourself with Atura Ashada, how can one become undefeated? How can you not let life get you down? You become tough. You develop mental and spiritual toughness. Atura Ashada is ruled by the sun, so you develop yourself. You develop your confidence. And you don't let anything get you down. You don't let anything defeat you. You know. And it's about learning which battles are worth fighting. That's how you also keep from getting defeated. Is learning how to realize, and that's where the Capricorn energy comes into play then. Which battles are worth fighting. But I would also say, when I go back to Shravanya, whoever said that, Shravanya is also about wisdom and learning and knowledge. Yeah, you fucking with the right one. But when you look at back to Shravanya, when you look at Shravanya, you don't want to look at it just like, oh, I don't feel like it is Aquarius energy, because it gives the power to connect the dots, to connect all things, connect people, to make connections also. That's the power of Shravanya Nakshatra. You did. The power to connect. I'm trying to get the power to collect. Not just connect, collect. Nigga. Not only that, when you look at the negative aspects of Shravanya, Shravanya is like unyielding, so it's fixed like Aquarius. It can be gossipy or messy sometimes. You can be hypersensitive. You can be over generous to people. That can lead to debt and to poverty with Shravanya. You can give away everything that you have to other people. You can be pessimistic sometimes too. Or that's how you can seem with your ascendant being there. What's up, Samantha? I'm from Texas too. Shout out to the cowboy. I like that. That's that Texas shit right there. That's that shit right there. Now, you asked me about Ardra. Your moon is in Ardra Nakshatra. My sun is in Ardra Nakshatra. But Ardra Nakshatra is ruled by Rudra. And what that means is Ardra is representative of a storm. So we all go through storms. We all have this storm. But for you getting through this storm is incredibly healing. You harnessing the power of this storm can help heal other people also. And so Ardra it means you're gonna face through some troubles because Rudra, I mean, it is a storm, but Rudra is the goddess or the god of destruction. And so, like, you can self-destruct. You can have destructive traits in your personality. You can, but you also can help heal people once you learn how to harness that storm. That's what that means. It goes both ways. Flipping down the. Hey. That's some Texas shit. But yeah, that's Ardra. The nakshatras are the most important thing in all of astrology. I know I'm a Western astrologer, a tropical astrologer. But the nakshatra, specifically the nakshatra that your moon is in, is the most important thing in all of astrology because it gives you a specific understanding of that area of energy that's separate from the sign and the placement. Now, you can incorporate that once you get a really deep understanding of it. But in Western, there's no doubt that I'm a Pisces moon. But there also is no denying that I am Shadabishak Nakshatra. Plain and simple. Specifically, I'm not a Puva Pravardra or a Tura Pravardra or a Revati. I am Shadabishak. Specifically because of that's how I am. So I use the nakshatras to get a better understanding of the energy of that specific significance. So those degrees, or however it falls in Western or Vedic, I'm able to get an understanding of that energy specifically. So I do utilize those. So yeah, that's definitely it. That's a Texas vibe too. That's like a Pimp C vibe. Ooh, I love that. What's my rising in Vedic? I actually don't know. It's either Hastya or Chitra, because I happen to fall exactly on the line between Hastya and Chitra. So if I was born 1 minute earlier, I'm Hastya Nakshatra. If I'm born 1 minute later than it's on my birth certificate, then it's Chitra. And if I'm born exact time, it's hard to tell. It depends. I'd like to say I'm Chitra, but I've also had people tell me, no, I think you remember Hastya a lot more. Tina Claire Marie said, your Sun and Venus are in Anuradha. I have my Saturn in Anuradha. And that's Sagittarius, but it's Scorpio in Vedic. And that's about friendship. Vishaka and Anuradha go together. But Anuradha is about friendship. It's about dedication and friendship. You should study your nakshatras. I mean, you can study Vedic more, but I would at least study your nakshatras. At least. Do I connect well with Aquarius moon in my Vedic? I connect well with Shadabishak Nakshatra. I don't necessarily connect well with the Aquarius moon aspect of it, but I understand what it means. Kritika is Aries energy. It's warrior energy. It's ruled by the sun too, though. Kritika. Yeah, I know Kritika. We got 10 more minutes. Let's make it count. For any of y'all interested in any astrological readings whatsoever, don't ever get at me in these comments. Get at me in my email, which is mr.turner1300@gmail.com. All right. And I offer all types of services, whether it's consultations in hour-long blocks, whether it's me taking on another apprentice because I'm pretty much done with this one. I have one that we haven't connected in a while. I don't know when she wants to get back started again, but whenever I get back started with her, we'll get back. But I have one of my students who we're finishing up our courses, and she's getting ready to branch out on her own. I have several chart reading offers that I do. I do Pluto through Aquarius transit journey readings, which is me going over Pluto's journey through Aquarius and addressing how it's going to affect all of your personal planets throughout the next 20 years. I look, and we can do that in a recording or in audio phone call or a video session. I do natal chart readings where we're going to look at your natal chart, and we can either do that in an audio recording or a phone call or a Zoom session. I do solar return readings, which will look at how your energy is going to be affected this year specifically from your birthday on. And then we'll also look at synastry if we need to. And I do numerology readings, which is one of my most popular readings that I've ever had now. If you think I'm an awesome astrologer, wait till you get the numerology. Yeah, I'm a true guru. So, if anybody else has any questions, let's get them out. We got 10 more minutes and then we gotta go. I've been here for 3 hours. If y'all want me to come tomorrow, I have to preserve my voice for the rest of the day. So yeah, let's get to that. Can I talk about Ashwini? Ashwini is Aries too. It's true Aries. It's the first nakshatra out of all of them. And my Rahu, or my North Node, is in Ashwini. And Ashwini is represented by a racehorse, but it's also very, very spiritual in its own right. Ashwini is ruled by Ketu. Even though my Rahu is there, Ashwini is ruled by Ketu, and that's what makes it so spiritual. It's ruled by the South Node. And so it's about, you know, past life energy and racing towards something new, and you know, being powerful and facing life head on. So yes, Ashwini. Ashwini is ruled by Ketu, and it's a racehorse. You said this year in your solar return, you have Jupiter and Uranus in your 12th house. How can you expect that to manifest? I would definitely say that it could manifest in a way where you're gonna learn a lot more if you go within yourself, because it could be playing out to where you get stretched too thin, both with the Taurus part financially and with the Gemini part mentally. So you kind of get yourself stressed out because you get stretched too thin this year. And so what you're gonna have to do is give yourself some time to rest and some time to recenter your energy. That's gonna be really important. What does part of fortune in the Taurus in the 5th house means? It means you just need to use your creativity. You need to believe in yourself and have confidence in yourself and be creative and enjoy it. Enjoy life. Have as much fun as possible. And as long as you're enjoying life, it's going to be profitable and probably even prosperous for you. But you have to allow yourself to feel confident in doing so. But yeah, maybe even doing music too, with it being in Taurus in the 5th house. But, you know, anything that is involved with harmony and order, but more than anything else, music with that, or even cooking even. But yeah, that is where you're allowing your confidence and your creativity to really play off for you, Anthony. So yeah. Damn. This nigga Lazarus came on like he was talking Latin and then started talking about a demogorgon. Bro, if you don't get your Stranger Things, get out of here, man. Vedic doesn't show Uranus or Neptune placements. It can if you get access to right charts. Go to astro.com or AstroDietist and then put in say you want to do your nakshatras or your Vedic placements, and it'll give you everything where everything is placed. All of it. All of it. It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. Like I said, y'all hit that fucking Cash App. It's pinned right there. Hit the super sticker, the super thanks, the super chat. All right? That's a fair energetic exchange. If not, maybe you understand why I come live less and less. I have to mind the business that pays me. What does Vertex in Leo in the 8th house is? You have to find, through deep troubled times in your life, you have to find your confidence. Funny as it is, seeing that you need your confidence and all that shit, like Vertex and Leo in the 8th house means you have to find your confidence, bro. I mean, yeah, in Leo in the 8th house, you have to, because you look at the other end of that, is you see Aquarius in the 2nd house on that. So you really help other people. You're all about, helping the world and letting other people, but you have to learn how to take the lead. When times are in critical moments of your life, you're going to be forced to take the lead. You're going to be forced to show who you are and what you're capable of, rather than relying on your resources or taking a step back and letting somebody else take the lead. You have to take the lead in your life. You have to take the lead. But yeah, it's up to you what you do. So we're fixing to go, y'all. This has been a great experience today. I've been here as long as I can be here for free. I appreciate everybody's love and support, but we'll see what happens. I'll try to be here tomorrow, but I can't guarantee it. Thursday I have a class to teach, but I might also come at some point on Thursday. Friday I will not be here. Friday is my day with my wife. I used to come on Fridays, I know that, but my wife changed her off days to Fridays, and I really cherish my time with my wife. So I spend that Friday with my wife. And I mean, really my weekends all together are for my family. I've been working on the weekends here lately because I've had a lot of readings to do, but Fridays are the days that we run errands together or we just spend our time together. And that's important. So yeah. I love y'all. We're out.